Okay, so here's the thing. When you hear about an earthquake on the news, you probably assume the details are final, right? Magnitude, location, depth, those numbers get thrown out there like hard facts. But what if I told you that those numbers are actually shifting, changing, and getting revised in real time? Let's dive into this earthquake data from August 1st, 2026, and see what's really going on beneath the surface. Alright, first off, check the timestamps here. Within minutes of each other, the magnitude jumps from a 4.3 to a 5.2. Wait, how does that happen? Because when the ground shakes, the first readings are automated, cold, hard algorithms crunching seismic waves. But those early numbers? They're rough drafts. What makes this fascinating is how the system evolves from those shaky first estimates to something more precise. The initial 4.3? That's just a guess. By the time humans get involved, it's upgraded to a 5.2. And here's the kicker. The best rating comes from a person actually reviewing the data. In my opinion, this highlights a truth we often ignore. Science isn't instant. It's messy, iterative, and human. Now, look at the coordinates. Early readings place the epicenter near minus 43.96 latitude, but later corrections zoom in on minus 45.13. That's not a small shift. Imagine if you're a town thinking you're 100 kilometers away from the action, only to realize the quake was right under your feet. Why does this happen? Because seismic waves travel, and sensors are scattered unevenly. Early data might lean on distant readings, while later analysis triangulates with more local sensors. A detail I find fascinating is how this mirrors our own perception of events. First impressions are often wrong, but we rarely revisit them. The media reports the initial magnitude, but by the time the dust settles, the story's changed. Depth is another wild card. Early estimates hover around 10 kilometers, superficial, dangerous, but later revisions push it to 108 kilometers. Wait, why does depth matter? Because shallow quakes feel stronger at the surface. If you're in a building, a 5.2 at 10 kilometers is way scarier than the same magnitude 100 kilometers down. But here's what people misunderstand. Deeper quakes can still be destructive, especially in subduction zones. This data isn't just numbers. It's a lesson in risk perception. If you take a step back, you realize the public gets confused because we're fed snapshots, not the whole film. And here's where it gets philosophical. The system updates 40 times in 30 minutes. That's the real story. In my opinion, this reflects a deeper tension in our relationship with technology. We crave instant answers, but the truth requires patience. The automatic readings are fast but flawed. The human-reviewed data is slower but steadier. It's like social media versus peer-reviewed journals. One spreads noise, the other seeks signal. A broader implication? Trust in science isn't built on perfection. It's built on revision. Every update here is a tiny act of humility. We didn't know, now we do. So next time you hear a breaking news alert about an earthquake, remember, those first numbers are just the start. The real story is in the revisions, the debates, and the slow march toward accuracy. Isn't that kind of beautiful? That even in chaos, there's a method to the madness. What's your take? Do you think the public should be told when data is still in flux, or does that just cause panic? Let me know in the comments.